I'm Anjali Rao at a prestigious event in the world of Korean cinema. My guest today is the famed director Park Chan-wook. This is Talk Asia. A vivid scene of a defining film. The intense, dark plot of global hit Old Boy is typical of Park Chan-wook's work. Graduating with a philosophy degree, Park first worked as a film critic and endured early flops as a director. His career took off in 2001 with Joint Security Area, a thriller set on the border between North and South Korea. It broke all box office records in South Korea. With his new clout, Park embarked on the so-called Vengeance trilogy, with Quentin Tarantino an early champion. Old Boy, the second of the series, won a prize at the Cannes Film Festival, at which Tarantino was president of the jury. The violent film was later blamed by the press for inspiring last year's Virginia Tech massacre. The final installment of the trilogy, Lady Vengeance, is currently being remade with Charlize Theron in the head role. Park's latest release, I'm a Cyborg, is lighter fare than usual, focusing on an unconventional love story. We meet at an industry event in Seoul, celebrating leading figures in Korean cinema. Chan-wook, welcome to Talk Asia. Let's first of all talk about your most acclaimed work to date, which would be Old Boy. It's a pretty twisted film. Talk to us about making it.
예, 그 작품은 일본의 망가라고 하죠.
Actually, I took the story for the movie from a Japanese comic. At first, when I heard the story, it was about a person who was thrown into the middle of nowhere without knowing why he was there or how long he would have to stay. I was attracted by this setting. This, for me, was a significant depiction of the condition of human beings. Aren't we all born to this earth without a reason? And we also don't know when we're going to die. I was attracted to this idea for the movie.
상징성에 먼저 매료됐었죠.
아저씨 잠깐 이리 와봐. 자 얘기 좀 해 나랑. 아저씨 나 여기서 내보내달라고 안 할 테니까 나 여기 왜 뭐 때문에 들어왔는지 그것만 얘기 좀 해줘요. 예? 아니 사람이 알고나 같이 있어야지.
In 2004, Old Boy took the Grand Prix at Cannes. What was it like for you to experience not only attending such a glittering international event, but to walk home with a major award?
예, 좀 누가 봐도 놀랄 만한.
The most surprising thing about the event was that they had allowed a first-time competitor into the contest, because they don't usually allow them. So the fact that I was allowed to compete at Cannes was an astonishing thing. And Old Boy can't exactly be called an art film. But that it was in competition was a surprise as well. The third thing was that Old Boy actually won an award. The entire thing was a series of surprises for me. But at that time, the thing that really interested me was how I could take photographs and shake hands with people who had inspired me the most. Living legends like Roman Polanski. The shock of it still lives with me, and I remember it clearly.
Quentin Tarantino was on the jury that year, and he fought for Old Boy to win the biggest prize at Cannes, which is the Palme d'Or. The jury, though, decided to award it to Fahrenheit 9/11. But what did it mean to you to have such a powerful figure in your corner?
I was disappointed when I heard the Palme d'Or had gone to Fahrenheit 9/11. But I believe that with all competitions, luck is most important. Sometimes, when too many great movies are competing, movies that should have won awards at other times cannot. On the other hand, when the competition quality on the whole is so-so, a movie that isn't all that can go home with the prize. Everything is decided by luck, and at that time, I think I had that kind of luck. I personally like Tarantino, and at the after-party we talked about how he had memorized all the lines, scene shots, and editing details. and I was so surprised I had to convince myself I wasn't dreaming. Actually, at that party with all the judges, the thing that excited me the most was not Tarantino, but the ladies. I remember the whole event better because I had the chance to meet Emmanuel Bell and Tilda Swinton.
Although it's been largely discounted now, there was a lot of talk that your movie, Old Boy, inspired Cho Seung-hui, the Virginia Tech campus killer. Did you hear those rumours at the time?
Yes. I read an article like that on Cho Seung-hui. Frankly, I think that it doesn't go further than comparing two similar photographs. No one has any real evidence that he watched the movie. And even if he had, there is even less evidence that he was inspired by the movie to commit the acts he did. It was probably a very small fraction of the thousands of different experiences he went through. For example, I want to ask in return. I know that Cho Seung-hui studied theater, read Shakespeare, and also enjoyed writing plays. When Cho Seung-hui read the violent lines in Shakespeare, that also might have influenced his actions. Should the media also blame Shakespeare? I want to ask that question.
So although those allegations have now been pretty much debunked, it did reignite the whole issue over violence in film. Do you worry that what you bring to the screen might influence the actions of others?
I don't believe that violence in films can be categorized into just one theme. There is a large variety of ways in which directors portray violence in films. In my case, I'm concentrating on the events before and after the violence, and not just the act of violence itself. For example, the fear and disturbance that comes right before the violent act, and the pain that comes after it. I'm not greatly interested in the action itself.
자, 나왔습니다. 산 거 맞죠? 이제 잘라도 될까요?
Arguably, the scene in Old Boy which has garnered the most attention is where the main character, Odesu, eats an octopus while it's alive and wriggling around all over the place. Take us back to the filming of that sequence.
I've heard many comments that the scene was very violent and disgusting. I understand that they can feel this way. However, I made that scene in place of a more violent one because the main character had just been released after 15 years of imprisonment and had just gotten a phone call from his captor. The anger that comes from that instant, he must have felt a fury so strong that it could not have been extinguished by just going out and pummeling or killing someone violently. That fury was shown through that scene. And what I was trying to show in it was only a small portion of the true anger by using it as a tool. While the scene showed fury, the main character had been cut off from all types of life for 15 years and wanted to feel the wriggling sensation of life. That is also what I wanted to portray in that scene.
But animal rights activists were absolutely horrified that you would do such a thing because it required 4 octopuses to be used. What on earth would possess you to do that? To not just one innocent creature, but 4, just for the sake of a movie?
Many Koreans eat live octopuses as a delicacy, though not whole. These octopuses were being sold in the market for that very reason, so I don't feel that this is much of a big deal.
Aha, okay, well that's an issue for a completely different topic then, for a different time. You know, on the surface you seem like such a normal guy, but your movies are really creepy and dark and ultra-violent. So level with me here. Is that the real you deep down?
I have heard that most directors who make dark and violent movies are pretty much normal in their daily lives. This has been the tradition ever since Hitchcock, and most of the directors of the darkest, most grotesque movies are basically normal people. Personally, I think that my normality and the fact that I grew up in a very average environment made me grow tired of it all and make movies to escape the monotony, because I was so bored.
at the time, it was the highest ever grossing film in South Korea. Why did that topic capture your imagination and that of audiences here?